If you've been looking for a shaving cream that is all natural that you can create in your own home, this is the recipe for you. This uses tallow as the base of our shaving balm, which makes it so incredibly nourishing for your skin. I will admit I don't always like to use lotion after a shower, but this is a wonderful way to avoid needing to use the lotion and still have soft, silky skin. This recipe is so incredibly easy to make and it works beautifully. Let's get into the recipe. First, let's get into the things that you're going to need for this recipe. Of course, you're going to need some tallow. You're also going to need some coconut oil. This is what helps produce a lather. Some castor oil, some bentonite clay. This is going to clarify, detoxify, and cocoa or shea butter. If you don't have cocoa butter or shea butter, you can sub for more tallow. It's just for some extra moisture. Sometimes I like to use a scale. Other times when the recipe is not near as precise, you can just use a measuring spoon. Okay, let's get started with making it. This shave balm recipe is so incredibly easy. It's 2 tablespoons of tallow and 1 tablespoon of everything else. I like to render and store my tallow in these little jam jars. I find it stays way fresher and it doesn't get rancid or moldy. So to our heat safe jar, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of tallow, 1 tablespoon of coconut oil, and 1 tablespoon of cocoa butter. You can also use shea. And then this is going onto our double boiler to melt down. And into the double boiler it goes. We're going to put the heat onto very low until everything is just melted down, keeping in mind that this is going to be very, very hot. Every once in a while it's melting down, you can give it a little stir, kind of break up some of those bigger chunks so it melts a bit quicker. Okay, it took less than 5 minutes and we are definitely rocking and rolling. This is completely melted down, so I'm going to take it off the heat and show you the next steps. Now that we have our melted tallow, cocoa butter, and coconut oil, we're going to be adding 1 tablespoon of castor oil. This is going to be for the slip and the shine that it can produce. And then 1 tablespoon of bentonite clay. The bentonite clay can get a little clumpy, so make sure that you're giving it a really good mix. By now it should be cool enough that you can actually touch it with your fingers. If you've watched my other videos, such as my tallow whip video, you'll know that I talk about different oils and their comedogenic rating. And if you did watch that, you'll know that both coconut oil and cocoa butter are very high on the comedogenic scale. Tallow is somewhere right in the middle and castor oil is quite low. And typically it can lead to clogged pores. Since this is a product you're going to be rinsing off in the shower, you do not really have to worry about the comedogenic rating. But if you are concerned about it, you can always swap out the oils. Just keep in mind that different oils have different properties, and if you swap out the coconut oil, you're going to have less of a lather. If you don't know how to render your own tallow at home, that is totally fine. It takes a little bit of practice, but I do have a video showcasing how to do that start to finish. And I also created a little free guide of the top 5 mistakes people make when they render their own tallow, and I will put a link to it in the description box below. I hope it's really helpful. It was all the mistakes that I made when I was first starting out, so you can avoid them. Now this looks very good. So once you're happy with it, we're just going to pour it into our silicone mold. I'll put a link down below in the description to these silicone molds. I love them so much. They're the perfect size for a single bar of soap, or if you want to just make smaller batches. I like to make big batches of soap, but we don't need that much. So this is the perfect alternative. We're gonna let this harden until it is completely solid, pop it out of the mold, and it's ready to go. If you like this kind of recipe, you will love my new ebook that's coming out. I'm working on it today, so I'm hopeful that within the next week or so it should be out. But if you sign up for the waitlist down below, you can get access to discounts, exclusive recipes, and more. I know I harp on this every single time, but it was one of the biggest mistakes I made when I first started working with tallow, and that was dumping tallow down my drain. Now, it was an accident. However, it caused some serious damage, and I do not want that for you. So once again, I'm going to show you how I clean up after I'm done working with oils, butters, tallow. Always using paper towels, something that is not reusable, because if you use something reusable like a cloth, you're going to have the same problem with your washing machine clogging that up, and I do not want that for you. So I give all of my utensils and containers a quick wipe with the paper towel as best as I can. Make sure you get deep in there where all of the stuff settles. And then a few squirts of liquid soap into your container. I like to just put my utensils into my container so they can get all clean as well. And then hot water into here. You're gonna let it sit for a little while, swishing it around, and then dump it into the gravel or someplace where the soap is not going to kill your grass or flowers or anything like that. Once your bar is completely solid, you can just pop it out of the mold and it is ready to use. To use it, you're just going to lather it in your hands and use it just like a shaving cream. Now, anytime you have any products that go in the shower, you have to be extra careful to not get extra moisture in there, which then can make it rancid or moldy quite a bit quicker. So after you're done using it, I would take it out of the shower and let it completely dry. The other thing that I was considering when I first developed this recipe was I was a little bit worried about the drain. However, if you're using the amount that you should be, which is only a small amount, and you're using hot water, there should be no problems with your drain clogging or anything like that. Just again, make sure you're using it sparingly. And if there's ever a concern about how much is going down your drains, you can always run some really hot water through. Keep in mind though, I am not a professional plumber by any means, and definitely talk to your own plumber before you do anything. And whenever you're finding skincare recipes on the internet, make sure that you're doing a patch test. That means just using it on a small area of skin before you go hog wild and use it everywhere, just in case you're sensitive to one of the ingredients. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you more than you know. Take care.